All right, folks, Old Man Winter has finally loosened his grip on northern Minnesota. And that means it's time to head to the woods. Just a couple days ago, it was negative 32 degrees. Today's high is about 30 above. So I decided to tag along with Griff up to Sturgeon River. This is one of his main campsites that he's gone to, so he kind of knows the layout and stuff like that. I'm just along for the ride. And here is the campsite. It's a warming shack. There's supposed to be a trail back there, but everything's covered in snow. Plenty of places to hang back there. It's going to be windy. They're talking 30-mile-an-hour gusts. That is actually the fire pit. And Griff's already in the warming shack. And the trail just wraps around this way. It's about 2 miles in. Nothing too horrible. Groomed trail. Freshly groomed trail. No big hills. A couple little rollers. There's trail conditions. Of course, groomed for cross-country skis. Awesome spot. Well, got it all set up. Best I could anyway. Got snow stakes down in there. Had to dig out to hang the hammock. And you can see on this side that I had to dig quite a bit. I was hoping to get the setup on camera, but with the wind blowing all the snow out of the trees, I had to get cover on the hammock and then finish setting up. So tonight it's the Go Hammock 2.0 in the black. Stratus quilt covered by the Adventure quilt. So a 40-degree quilt, and then underneath that is a 20-degree quilt. And the Adventure top quilt for inside the hammock. This is a pole mod that I did for the Warbonnet Superfly. They're just tent poles, and I don't recommend doing it. Only for the simple reason that they're fiberglass. If they were to break, they splinter, and that would leave my tarp very vulnerable to punctures. I'm going to do it because it's my tarp. I don't know if I maybe want to wrap these in like a black tape. But if they do snap, maybe they can't splinter. I'm not sure what to do there, but I have used them once before in a windy situation, and I didn't have a problem. Trying it again tonight. It's 30 mile per hour wind gusts right now. Low of about 0 tonight. Should be fine. This is Griff's setup over here. This is the coldest temp for him tonight. He's never slept this cold. So this will be a first. And he has the actual aluminum Warbonnet pole mod. So you can see how straight his are and how bendy mine were. I haven't pulled the trigger on these yet. I probably will. They are nice, they are handy. But I think it's time for some lunch. Camp is set up, lunch has been had. We decided to hike down to the river. That's the river, frozen over of course. We're camped right up on that hill right there. So, did a little exploring, had to come check out the river. Obviously not a freshwater source. So, melting snow it is. The wood is cut and split. Griff got the fire lit. Sun is starting to go down. Hasn't been cooling off yet. The wind hasn't been dying down either. It's not supposed to die down a whole bunch. Still 30-mile-an-hour gusts. but it's a beautiful night in the woods. Finally back in the woods. It's morning and the aroma of coffee is in the air. Got my coffee rocker going in the shelter. Pat is getting the press going. Got the fire going to thaw some water. It only got down to about 7 last night, so nothing too crazy at all. The inside of my tarp did end up frosting up. I went to bed about 9, got up about 7, so that's 10 hours inside there. I'll show how it's set. You know, it's set pretty low, right up against the snowbank. But it was windy. I thought it'd ventilate better. I don't know. I guess it didn't. But yeah, I do want to show how I got that thing, or where I have that thing set up, because I had to dig a hole. So you can see how close my wall is to my snowbank. And that's on both sides. So it's pretty low. I mean, I would still think it would ventilate. But it got frosty. It's frosty up in here. Griff had an entirely different problem. He has the chameleon wide and is using the winter top cover, which this used to be my set, so I do have videos on this. Was my set, and now it's his set. And this thing is actually covered in frost. So this is the net part. You see his Lucy lights covered in frost. The whole inside of that is frost. But his tarp, there's a little frost on there too. So it got frosty. It got frosty last night. There's the warming shack. There's where Griff was hanging. You can see how much he had to dig out. Still got his tarp hanging. And I was back here a little ways further. And I had to dig this part out. Of course, I banked this side much higher because this is where the wind was coming from. And it was windy. It was windy for a while. Calmed down maybe 3 o'clock this morning. I got up to use the bathroom and I noticed there wasn't any wind anymore. Right here was a log, small one. I had to cut that out. Of course, you don't notice that when you start digging. Not until you get down into that snow do you notice. That's where I had a snow stake. Another snow stake up in there and right over here. So the snow stakes did hold very nicely. Pole mod, no issues there. Even with the wind, I personally can't recommend it because it is it's probably dangerous to the tarp. You know, if that pole breaks, chances are it's going to blow out the tarp. But you know, if you want to do it, that's up to you. Oh, now it's time for some more coffee. Got my coffee. Morning time with Griff. Coffee time.
Yeah.
So this was Griff's coldest camping trip so far. Got down to about 7, I think is what my thermometer said. How did it go?
Went pretty good. Aside from the top cover, so I didn't vent the top cover really at all. I had just a crack going in it. But for the most part, that whole thing just completely iced up to where even if I was shifting around, rolling side to side, I would just feel ice rain on my face. So I had to put the top quilt over my face for the majority of the night. I mean, there is a lot of ice. If I was planning to do another night tonight, I'd be in rough shape.
Yeah, when I had it, same thing.
Yeah.
I tried it half open, I tried it fully open, and I ended up with the same results. And then you start getting around that, right around the freezing mark, about 35 degrees, and it doesn't freeze, it stays moisture.
Yep.
And then it drips.
Yep.
Hammock Mantis, same thing. I think they discontinued that top cover, that winter cover.
Well, sorry for that.
I think Hammock discontinued it because of that problem. Yeah. But I will say it is frosty this morning. I went down, looked across the river, and yeah, there's frost on the trees even. So But as far as the top cover, that has nothing to do with the top cover. Inside the tarp, probably.
Yeah.
Because even Griff's tarp was frosty.
Yeah.
But it is just a frosty morning. Beautiful morning, though.
So from here on out, there's no top cover. So you're not going to use it anymore. It could really bite a guy in the butt.
I feel kind of bad because I pawned it off onto him. Now it was his problem.
Yeah. I was really excited for it too.
Yeah, I'll make up for it. I'll make up for it.
Oh, no worries.
Well, that's it for this trip. Griff and I are making our way out, pulling the sleds. Way easier with this harness I picked up. A lot better than last year. Got the new sleds. Way better system. Way easier this year. 2 miles out. Kind of a trek in the morning, first thing. But I had a great time. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Thanks for watching. As always, stay happy, campers.